I remember before the war, there's some things that are really stayed in my head, and I remember being a happy little girl and being in a summer home and playing with this big German shepherd. I was not afraid. I would go into the dog's house, so they called, I was kind of daring. And balloons on Sunday afternoons with walks with my mother and father before the war. And then the curtain fell in September 1st, 1939, when the Germans invaded Poland. And all our lives changed completely. Because when the Germans came in, my father ran away towards Russia. Their thinking was that, the war will last a couple of days and he'll come back and everything will be okay. Well, it didn't happen that way. So it was my mother and my sister and I that were left. And so I remember when we had to leave our apartment because we lived in this big building and the Germans were taking it over. So that's when they put us into the Lodge Ghetto. And my father found a job, and after he found a job and was earning some money, he sent a young Polish young man to find us in the Lodge Ghetto. He had a picture of my mother, and he found her. And somehow or other, he arranged with a farmer in a wagon that they smuggled us out of the ghetto early morning, and Lila and I were put into the wagon and covered up. And my mother sat in the front with the young man that came to find us and the farmer. And we started our journey, and a couple days into the journey, my sister Lala became ill. She started running a very high fever. And my mother didn't have any medicine or not even an aspirin to give her. So she decided that she wouldn't join my father, but would they take us to Warsaw? Because there she had a brother that was an engineer at a hospital, and his wife was a physician. So she figured she would get some help, and that's how we wound up in the Warsaw Ghetto. Once we were wound up in the Warsaw Ghetto, and my father kept track of us, he was still able to keep track of us, and found out that we were in the Warsaw Ghetto. He actually made his way back. And I always say, who in his right mind goes into the Warsaw Ghetto? Everybody was trying to get out. But because he was the man that he was, and he loved his family, he came back. And because he came back, I'm sitting here today. Because by the time he found us, my sister and I were already suffering from malnutrition. And we were listless and just laying around. And when he came with a knapsack, and in it he had some bread and butter. And when he saw the condition that we were in, he proceeded to try to feed us. But he was wise enough that he didn't give us a whole slice of bread, because our stomachs were no longer used to a lot of food. And so he fed us, like I always say, like a bird, little cubes at a time, until our stomachs became able to handle the food. They had to have 3 things to get out of the ghetto. They had to get false papers that would say that we were Catholic. Number 2 was find a Polish family that would take us in. because that was as dangerous for them as it was for us. And number 3, how to get out of the Warsaw Ghetto. And I remember my parents talking about it, and they were considering all sorts of things, because there was a Polish driver that drove a German officer in and out of the ghetto. And they were considering drugging my sister and I and putting us into the trunk. And my mother decided that she wouldn't allow that, because she was worried, what if we coughed or we woke up, we would be found. So the way we did get out was they made arrangements with a garbage truck driver that was going in and out of the ghetto. And one early morning, they put my sister and me and my mother into the truck, covered us up, and drove us out. And that's how we got out. But my parents having gone through the war, seeing the things they saw, they were determined that they would come to the United States if they could. When we came by ship, and we were landed in New Orleans, and from New Orleans we were supposed to actually go to California. So this was strictly an accident that we settled here. But I think that once my father put his feet on American soil, he wasn't going anywhere. So if he could work it out, he was just going to stay here.